Today we're on video 3 of clearing the attic. And I want to start with a question. Have you ever walked away from maybe a conversation that you're having with another person and then asked yourself, like, who was I during that conversation? Like, that wasn't even me. Why did I act that way? Or why did I say those things? Or why did I answer the way that I did? That's not who I am. I wouldn't normally do that. Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about today because our first conversation was about the box. And then our second conversation was about the lock, right? You remember the box is the metaphor for where we store things that are too painful to think about. Thoughts, memories, we put them in the box and we close the lid and we put them away. Then we talked about the lock. Some things, are so uncomfortable that we're like, this box needs a lock, man. I don't ever want to go in there. I don't want to deal with that. And today we're talking about the mask. So imagine a little girl or a little boy who is constantly criticized. And then that child constantly thinks, if I'm perfect, then I'll be more liked, I'll be more accepted. Finally, I'll be enough. Or maybe a little boy is bullied and he decides, I'll never let anyone bully me again. I'll never be that vulnerable. I know, gosh, I know that. I can recall that experience. When someone is forcing something on you, something unwanted, it can be very difficult to feel that you have any power in the moment. Or maybe someone that's been abandoned and they decide, you know what, I am never going to depend on anyone else again. And they become a loner or they just they don't trust. And none of those decisions stay in the attic. None of them. They become the face that we show to the world. And that becomes our mask, like our costume, right? Maybe your mask was being strong. I know mine was because it took me to a point where I decided, you know what? If I am really going to feel safe in my world, if I'm really going to protect myself, I need to study martial arts. I need to learn how to defend myself. I need to make sure that I'm prepared for anything that will happen. And that's exactly what I did. I started my own business. Was teaching other women how to defend themselves. And it felt like this is it. This is what I'm put on this earth to do. This is what I was meant to share with everyone. As I learn this and I turn around and share it with others, it's impactful. It's really making a difference. And I never want to feel that powerless again. And I know there are other women who never want to feel that powerless again. And it felt like, yes, this is important. This is what needs to happen. But martial arts wasn't the mask. Interestingly enough, martial arts wasn't the mask. It was a beautiful expression of strength. The mask was the belief that I had to become something stronger in order to be safe. There's a big difference there. Can you see the difference? When we feel like we have to add to what we already are, that is when we are not prioritizing our own sovereignty. That's when we are telling ourselves that something is missing and nothing is missing. But I believed that I wasn't strong enough, right? Because if I'm not strong enough, then people are going to take advantage of me. So there was something that needed to be added. But there's nothing wrong with becoming stronger. The question is, who is it that believes they need to become stronger? That's the big question, right? Because now that question is coming from a separate self, the one saying, I need to be stronger. Who is saying that? That is where the dualistic realm comes into play. That is where the difference in duality and non-duality, that is where self-realization comes into play. Because when you realize that you are the infinite, effortless, attributeless being, and everything is happening within, nothing needs to be added, everything is complete the way that it is. The question of, well, who is it that believes they need to be stronger? We all wear masks, right? We're all people pleasers, or the perfectionist, or the achiever, or the rescuer, the one who hasn't always been strong. The mask isn't the problem. It served a purpose. It protected what needed to be protected. But after wearing a mask long enough, we begin to ask, like, who is that mask for? Who is wearing it? What is the reason for it? Is that reason the same? Does it need to keep being, happening, being fed, followed? So for this week, don't try to remove the mask. Don't judge it. Don't fix it. Just notice. When do you feel the need to become someone? Like the question I asked at the very beginning, have you ever been like in a conversation and maybe you didn't show up as your most authentic self and then you found yourself walking away going, who was that person? Why did I act like that, talk like that, answer like that? Just notice. Just notice when it happens and what you might be protecting. It's interesting because we usually don't wear masks or we don't notice that we're wearing a mask until the mask mm, is challenged or until life challenges us. You know, like we're walking around with this mask, this persona, this identity of who we believe we are. And then something will happen that challenges that very identity that we believe ourselves to be. Someone says something, someone doesn't agree with us, someone rejects us. Suddenly we react. And those reactions aren't random, they're invitations. Next week, in the next video, we'll explore those triggers and why life has an incredible, incredible way of revealing what we've been carrying all along. And until then, notice what you become when you don't feel safe and what you're telling yourself. What is the reason that this invitation to feel unsafe is happening? And are you really feeling your most happy, joyful, loving self? Or are you feeling that there needs to be some kind of hiding? That might be a good way to explain it, right? Like you're keeping secrets. You're not really letting all of you be, just be the isness that you are. So, until the next video, this is Nancy Muller, the one and only Life Sensei, telling you to love your life, asking you to love your life, suggesting that you love your life, requesting that you love your life, and love who you are. Love, live, be happy. Even when the world around you feels like it's falling all around, falling all apart, you deserve that happiness. Ciao for now.